The pay schedules page can be found via the Payroll Settings tab, which can be accessed here and here. Under Pay Run Settings, you'll see Pay Schedules. The settings you configure on your pay schedule page are used for each pay run to calculate what to pay employees. There's no limit to the number of pay schedules you can create, and they can be configured for any combination of pay frequencies. So you can have multiple weekly, fortnightly and monthly pay schedules all running at the same time. When you first set up your business, there will already be a default pay schedule set up. The frequency of the schedule will depend on the option selected when the business was set up. For example, if you selected that the business processes pay runs weekly, there will already be a weekly pay schedule here. If you selected fortnightly, there will be a fortnightly default option. As you can see, you can have multiple pay schedules. To add a new pay schedule in addition to the default ones, simply click on the Add button located on the top right hand side of the screen. You'll then be prompted to configure your pay schedule settings. You'll need to add the following. The name. This is the name the pay run will be called and will be referenced when creating a pay run. So you will need to make sure that the pay run is clearly identifiable and recognised by all staff processing pay runs. As you can see, we have here ad hoc, bonus, for weekly, monthly and monthly part-time staff. You don't have to separate your staff out like this, but you can have as many options as you need, or have all your staff within the same pay run. It's up to you. The frequency. Here you have the option to choose from weekly, fortnightly, monthly, four-weekly, quarterly, or annually. It is important to note that this dictates the calculation of the employee's PAYE, so you must ensure you select the correct frequency. If you select a monthly pay run, there will now be an additional option. Calculate monthly hours based on an annual average. This setting only applies to employees who have advanced standard work hours set up. This is done via the Employee File Pay Run Defaults page. These hours mean that in normal circumstances their hours would differ each month due to there being a different number of days in most months. By ticking this box, it simply means the employee's hours will be averaged over the course of each month, regardless of the actual hours worked. The next option is which employees will be included in this pay run. You can choose none. You would usually choose the option when creating an ad hoc pay run. For example, it is often used to process back pays or bonuses and commissions. In this situation, you would manually add employees to the pay run. Next, you have employees with this pay schedule as their default. This is the most common setting and should be chosen where the pay run is run regularly. Employees who have this on their employee default page will also be attached to this pay run. The last option is employees with timesheets in the following locations. If you tick this, the locations box will appear. You would choose this option if you want to separate pay runs into locations. You can then select the location from the drop-down box on the right-hand side. Please be aware that if an employee works in more than one location and this setting is chosen, the employee could potentially be processed in more than one pay run in the same frequency. This means that the PAYE must be manually adjusted to ensure the employee is not disadvantaged and the correct calculations are made. The payslip message. You can add a recurring note here that will appear in the payslip message area on all pay runs for this pay schedule. This note will appear on all employees' payslips for that pay run. The next is pay run warnings. By default, all triggered system warnings will be displayed in the pay run. However, we understand that there may be some pay run warnings that are of no relevance to a particular pay schedule, and therefore you'd prefer if they are not displayed in the pay run at all. This setting allows you to configure what warnings you would actually like to be displayed in the pay run. Clicking on the pencil icon here opens up this Pay Run Warnings tab on the right hand side. You can simply deselect the warnings you do not want to appear on the pay run. Pay Run Finalization Settings. By clicking here, the following preferences can be configured to apply to all pay runs in a specific pay schedule. Submit to HMRC. You can choose to submit your pay run information to HMRC immediately once the pay run is finalised. You can choose to submit it manually. There will be an option then within the pay run to submit to HMRC when you are ready to do so. Or you can choose when the submission will be made. This could be a number of days before or on the actual pay date. If you choose to select a date here, you also need to add a time the submission should be made. Although you can't see it here because my business doesn't fit the criteria, there will be an integration for journals. This option relates to API integrated journals. Please note that the option to configure journals will not be available for file import journal services. The next option is publish payslips. You can publish your payslips either immediately, manually, or again you can select a date and time. If you choose to make payslips available immediately, there will be a second option of employee notifications. Here you can choose to send notifications to the employees, or do not send the notifications to the employees. The final setting here is the report packs. You can choose to run the report packs immediately, or you can choose a date and time. You can also choose do not run. If reports are configured to run, you are able to select the report packs from the available boxes here. Please note this option will not show if you do not have report packs configured within your business. When you're ready, you can press next. The next page is just a summary of the settings you have selected, so once you're happy, just press complete. Once these finalization settings have been configured, if you then choose to set up Payrun automation, those settings will flow through to the Payrun automation wizard. By default, pay schedules are set to run manually when originally configured, but you can change this so your pay runs will run automatically. This setting allows you to choose what components of a pay run you want automated. That is, run in the background automatically, and what components are to be processed manually. If the pay run is to be processed manually from start to end, then no settings need to change. To configure the pay run automation, click on the pencil icon here. You'll then be taken through a wizard where you can select your pay run automation options. For the purpose of this video, we'll leave the pay run automation in manual. However, no matter which option you go for, you'll still be able to use the pay run approval feature here. With this, you can nominate single or multiple users to receive notifications once a pay run has been created, for them to approve or decline and ready to submit to HMRC. It's easy to set up, and you can even create an approval reminder if you have anyone in mind that may need this. You can first choose the approval user. This has to be a full access user or a user who is set up to approve pay runs. You can amend these under the Manage Users section. On the next page, you can edit the message the pay run approver will receive. And on this third page, you can also create an approval reminder to be sent after a certain amount of days. And once again, the last page is a summary, and once you're done, you just press complete. Once you're happy with all your settings, you can just press save. On the right-hand side, you'll see the bin icons. If the bin icon is grey, this means you cannot delete the pay schedule as it's previously been used to pay an employee. We do not allow the deletion of the pay schedule to protect the historical data within the business. And that's it, the pay schedules page.